Hey, everybody. Welcome to What Drives Us, episode 265 for February 21st, 2018. My name is Russell Frost. I have the pleasure and honor of being your host this evening, but I have a fun cast of characters to join me this week. And cast of characters kind of makes it sound like they're cartoons. Tony looks a little bit. Well, speaking of that guy, yeah, the funny-looking guy in the middle there, or at least the middle on my screen, I like to call him Tony Schaefer.
Hey, hi everybody. I'll tell you what, if you have not yet found Off Color Brewing, their bottles are really kind of cute because they feature mice in various things. This that I'm drinking, I don't know the name of it, Mushka maybe, and it is a Russian-style surf stout. If you can find Off Color Brewing in the whatever that is, Mishka.
Because there's lots of surfing in Russia.
Yes, this is no, not that kind of surf. Actually, a Russian surf. Yeah,
Okay.
it's very good. It says right, it literally SERF.
Yeah.
And it's very good.
Wow.
So there you go.
Well, the man next to him looking very thoughtful and very, very crimson today is a gentleman I like to call Mark Coughlin.
I was just wondering, Tony, is that a mouse in a bottle? Because I saw a movie about that.
Yes. It's a mouse on the bottle, not in the bottle. In fact, yeah.
Are you sure there's not one of the
Yeah, because there's a lot of foreign language written on that label. You'd never know what's in that
dark.
bottle.
I'll let you know before the show is over.
Show title. In the first 5 minutes.
There we go.
Oh, man.
Ding, ding.
Ding, ding, ding. That's beautiful. Well, and before we get too much into the deep Canadian comedy, let's introduce our final panelist of the week, a gentleman, the founder of Boulder Hybrids in Boulder, Colorado, the master hybrid and EV technician, Mr. Paul Guzik.
Hey, everybody, and my sponsor is, can you see that? Mountain Living. Pale Ale.
Living.
Yeah, with some mountain creature on the can here.
It looks like a very, very demonic mountain goat.
I bet you my mountain goat can take Tony's mouse.
Probably.
Eat it up and spit it out.
Is that really something that could happen?
I just hope there's no mountain goat in the bottom.
Well, that's true. One mountain goat in every can. All of a sudden, Paul's eyes start lighting up as red. At some point through the episode, just log off the show, kids. It's not a big deal. We have a fun show for you this week, and just to prove it, I'm going to let Mark Coughlin start the show because he had a totally excellent adventure that he's going to share with the class right now.
Oh, that's sweet.
I happen to have been fortunate enough to attend the Canadian International Auto Show that happened and still going on at this point at the Metro Toronto Convention Center. 600,000 square feet of automotive bliss in two different halls, North and South Hall. So just going to flip through a number of photos. This is, of course, the Mitsubishi electric plug-in PHV that I had shown on a previous episode. I got a private viewing of this, but we saw it here as well.
Wow.
Took some photos of the interior and exterior of the car.
Nice.
And is that for sale in Canada now, Mark?
That is what it is for sale for fleets, and I understand that if you really want one, you could probably get one as a regular consumer.
Sure. Next month.
Next month.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
That's a good one. And of course, it's got Chatamo on the car as well. So it's only got.
Charge it at Nissan dealers then?
If they let you.
Yeah. That would be fun.
If it's not behind the gate, you're good.
Right.
It should be able to.
Yeah.
And then, of course, this is the only all-wheel drive plug-in vehicle available on the market, as we have heard several times in the past when it was only available in Europe. So now it's here.
And it looks like it has towing capacity.
It's got some towing capacity, exactly.
Cool.
And get a load of this color on this e-Golf. I thought that was pretty cool, this kind of emerald green that was on it.
It's 1974 toilet color, I think.
It is a pretty-ish color, though. I mean, it's a Volkswagen, but
now is this just bad placement, or is there a reason it's right next to the fire hose cabinet?
I think that's just bad placement, Tony. That's
it's
all
just
that
the
is.
fire hose cabinet right there. I mean,
Right
what's
here.
up with that?
Yeah, because you never know when a fire is going to outbreak at the auto
The
show.
electric goes short.
Right. Yeah.
And of course, they had the
They
fake
got a
chargers.
discount on that booth space.
That's right. They had the fake chargers there, ready to charge up.
Yeah.
And there's the interior. Look at everyone's got this blue stitching when it comes to an EV for some reason. A lot of people have the blue stitching. There it is on the handle of the shifter. It's on the steering wheel. A lot of them have piping on the seats like that. So that's kind of interesting that blue is the EV color. And they had a yellow one there. And underneath the hood of the Golf is nothing, nothing pretty, not like a Tesla. Where they cover up things and hide things. It's all in the open, kind of like the Bolt and kind of like the Leaf, where it's just all accessible and viewable as soon as you pop the hood.
Wow.
Now, this concept vehicle was unveiled at the Nissan booth. And of course, there are no specs on this vehicle. Nobody knows what the drivetrain is. No one knows if even electrification is possible. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on that. We're just going to flip through and get to the Leaf that was there. The 2018 Leaf was available to be shown at the Nissan booth, and I'm impressed. Get a load of this little bit of blue piping that's at the back of the vehicle. And it's the only place that this exterior blue exists on the car. Not sure why they would put it at the back and not on the rockers. At the side view, where they're not available, the blue is not seen anywhere else except for that little stretch underneath the back bumper. So not sure why they did that, but kind of neat.
Probably Volkswagen bought too much of the blue stuff, so there wasn't any left.
Wasn't enough. Wasn't enough. Yeah.
Running out of blue.
And the familiar Nissan shifter is in place in the new 2018, just like the old one. And the I believe the screen is a little bit larger in the new car for the central screen. And we've got the flattened steering wheel to help with people getting in and out of the car, rubbing their leg on it. And one thing I do understand is that the steering wheel certainly goes up and down, but there is no telescoping ability.
Really?
So it's just up and down.
That's interesting.
I thought you were going to say the steering wheel does go up and down, but not like.
But it doesn't turn.
It doesn't turn. It doesn't rotate. Yeah.
There's an instructional video with the car, and all you do is lean hard to the left or lean hard to the right, and the car will steer for you.
Yeah.
And remember we talked about the Bose power supply or
let's not.
Amplifier.
Whatever amplifier sitting in the back, it's still there.
Yeah, you have much better lighting than I had at the Chicago Auto Show.
Does not make sense at all.
I know that thing is a beast,
crazy,
and it's right there.
Yeah, right in the back.
And look at the dip here. If you'll go back, now I was impressed at the amount of cargo space in the Leaf. It's huge.
Yeah,
but there's that drop.
Yeah.
There.
And when the seats are down, it's not very fold flat.
It is not fold flat at all. Yeah.
It's like you got a foot above the trunk deck for the seat backs.
But it like you said, it is massive though. You're right. It's not flat, not easy to slide something in. But you take this cover, this window blocking cover off with the hatchback open, it is rather large inside. So
yeah, it really is.
You can fit a lot of bags of mulch in there, but
2 weeks worth of groceries.
2 weeks at least, Paul.
Yeah.
That's
so again, there's 3 versions of the Leaf: the premium, the medium, and forgive me, I don't know if the SL. I think the SL is the medium. There's an SV, and then the plain is the S. I'm guessing. I don't remember. but there are 3 versions of the Leaf. Oh, and that was a little side mirror. There's an actual, not a mirror, but a window, extremely small, is there just in front of the side view mirror. So we were kind of unsure as to why they have such a small window. Maybe it's for visibility, just to catch somebody, because maybe the A-pillar is a little thick if you leave it filled in.
It's how you stick your gun through that.
Oh, the gun! Right, yeah.
And that's why Canadians don't know what it's for.
Canadian, I didn't click into that at all.
You're not even supposed to know that it's there.
Okay, all right.
Hey, and by the way, not to interrupt, but so the Nissan, the 2018 Leaf S starts at $29,900. The 2018 Leaf SV starts at $32,400, and the best trim, the most exciting, the Nissan Leaf SL starts at $36,000.
36, very good. Thank you, Russell.
Yep.
And this little bump underneath the side view mirror is, of course, a camera, and that contributes to that 360 view that you get in the car, where you can see what's happening all around the car as you're parking.
I love those so much.
It video records your drive-by shootings.
There you go. There you go.
Right.
And over at the Chrysler booth, of course, the minivan that is the only minivan on the market as a plug-in was on display and spinning on a pedestal. So that was good to see. And here's the starting price in Canada, in Canadian dollars, $52,000. But it also qualifies for a $14,000 rebate here in Ontario.
It's interesting how the finance price in Canada is $146 a week instead of a month.
Yeah, we really get raked over the coal on leasing here. There's no doubt, and financing, it's criminal, is what it is. So again, we've seen these before, so I'm just going to breeze through them. The Kia Soul was there with a slight bump in battery, nothing even to write home about, just a couple of kilowatts. But again, they did push a few kilowatts into it extra.
And is the Soul a Canadian market car now as well?
Yes, and has been since its release. Okay. Yeah. And here's the Clarity from Honda. Now, we noticed the back wheel had this interesting pattern in it, and we thought, oh, aerodynamics possibly. Maybe that's helping streamline the car with that pattern in the rim. But it turns out, of course, all the rims are made the same way. So on the other side, the pattern is exactly the opposite way. So really, I don't know if it's helping.
Yeah, one works against the other.
So that means one half of the car's tires wear much quicker than the other half. I do not know, but it was interesting that it had
the left side of the car pulls to the right, and the right side pulls to the left.
And it all
it like rowboat oars.
And what was also interesting is, of course, this little cutoff, which reminds me of the Insight.
Right.
But it's less dramatic than what the Insight was. The Insight was further down. And then right here in this black area, this is a vent for airflow. So it flows through the panel and onto the wheel. And I guess that helps with aerodynamics.
Usually that cools the brakes, but I can't believe that's an issue.
That's not cooling your brake there, I wouldn't think.
You wouldn't think, right?
Because it's a black insert on the inside, and then there's a little black hole here that just pours out onto the wheel.
And any car with regen doesn't need as much friction.
Yeah, right? It's not creating as much heat.
And that little...
There, you can see it in this picture. There's the exit.
Oh, look at that.
Of the
That'll
air.
work perfectly in the snow.
Yeah, we were wondering how many times you would drive it where it would get filled with grime, and that would be a pretty quick thing in any winter situation.
Yeah. Wow.
There's a shot of it again on the other side. So kind of interesting. Not really made for a winter, as Tony has mentioned.
Wow.
Okay, so Mark, just as a curiosity, and this is something that not a lot of people think to do, and I just happened to think of this. When while I was at the Chicago Auto Show, but a lot of manufacturers are moving to capacitance buttons and touch things and getting away with physical buttons. So I happen to have my gloves with me, and I would get in cars and I would try to operate cars with my gloves on.
Okay, all right.
And you know, some of the people there, when they saw me doing it, they thought I was absolutely stupid for putting my gloves on and doing this. But, you know, I made the argument because at the time it was like 12 degrees Fahrenheit in Chicago. And I said, there is no reason I should have to take the gloves off to turn on the heat in my car.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Especially when it's 12 degrees.
Right.
There's that, right? Wow.
Yeah, and that makes sense.
Oh, there's the new Honda Civic.
There's the new Honda Civic.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
look at that.
So they had a couple of retro cars. That seemed to be a theme across the show. And I think, Tony, you had mentioned something about that in Chicago. There were a few retro cars in line as well. So that seems to be the calling card. The Civic was introduced. Man, it says 20 on the plate here, but that's like, it's not the 20th anniversary. It's been here a lot longer than that.
I had one that looked very similar to that in 1975.
There you go.
In the day.
There you go. So they had this mint-looking Civic from the 70s.
Wow.
There, and it was mint. And get a load of those tires, those rims.
The
Like
Steelies,
just
man.
painted steel, eh? Like that was it.
That's beautiful.
Nice.
And then, of course, Kia introduced a smaller SUV built again on the Soul platform, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So the Nero is coming out, and we'll have an electrification option for it. And it looked pretty nice as a smaller SUV. And my favorite car, I don't know why.
What is that?
You. Oh, that's your favorite car.
There's two of them. There's one there,
okay.
and then there's one over here. So they're in the Tesla booth. They were displaying the Model 3, and I was able to get in the back.
Still one? Oh.
Check out the front, get in the front. And then here's the Karma that was downstairs as well.
Oh,
Wow.
So yeah, it was this unicorn was.
So if you buy one, do you get a free Aston Martin? Is that?
that's the way it goes. That's
Or you
right.
have to buy an Aston Martin so when the Karma's broken, you have something to drive?
And it was kind of neat. This Signia on the front. It almost looked lava lamp looking,
nice.
which was kind of cool.
Yeah,
I thought that was
totally
a
awesome.
interesting thing to it.
Like a mood ring. Today,
Yeah.
Karma is feeling
What's
And,
that, the Batmobile?
This is the Darth Vader.
Vader mobile. Wow.
Yeah. So
What?
it is hot. It was Hot Wheels' 50th anniversary, and at the show they set up a bunch of test tracks, and they produced or delivered 6 full-size Hot Wheels.
I like the
Oh, yeah.
orange track.
The
that it's
track
on.
is awesome.
that
Thank
is-
you.
that is
Yeah.
awesome.
It's all to scale, I'm sure.
And these were drivable vehicles.
Were you allowed to drive them?
We were not allowed to drive them.
So they were not drivable.
Not to us, but to others. Yes. And have you guys recognized this car?
That's the original Firebird.
It was a Firebird concept called the Firebird 3.
No.
Yes.
Wow, look at the
Nice.
fin in the back. Now that's
It's
doing
got a
fins
full-on
up and
tail.
right.
That was
I
on
remember
Jay Leno's car.
I remember seeing this in a GM film about the future. And they talked about how this with the double cockpit and you'd have to be wearing
You need a radio
headset
set to talk
to your passenger.
Uh-huh.
But this is a turbine car. Up here is the induction for the turbine. It was incredible piece of machinery. Obviously it was
It
never
had
going
like
to
a
be
joystick thing, right, for steering, not a steering wheel.
correct.
That is
So
like
it was a crazy looking vehicle, and we got some pictures around it. And what was really bizarre,
Those are the official tire. Yeah, the original tire.
the original tires, yeah. but I guess I don't have the other picture. The fins were just incredible.
Yeah.
And at the back of the fin, there was a light, like the tail lights were built right into the thin part of the fins. So it was very cool.
Think of
Nice
how
to see.
And that was
peaceful
before LEDs existed too. They had
there was no LEDs in this car.
But think of how
Exactly.
peaceful that drive would be when your passenger, your wife, let's say, is in a completely enclosed bubble. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And you could just point at your head, going, "Oh, the headset's not working, hon. Can't talk."
Sorry.
So this is the Jaguar booth, and get a load of the red at the inside of this vehicle. I thought that was kind of cool. Certainly,
they had cars in the '80s had like red interiors.
well, it's coming back, Paul. It's all coming back. A plug-in Range Rover.
I'll
Does
take
anyone
one.
want
What's
to
the
hazard
range?
to guess about the range of the Range Rover?
2 miles.
Yeah,
I was
it's
gonna
about
say
that.
10.
It's
Yeah.
about that. Yeah, it's extremely low. This is just a compliance thing. It would be. I don't even know why. Besides just it's a gimmick, really. It's
What
a
you
gimmick.
don't know is that the battery pack for that car are they're nickel metal hydride AA cells in the glove box.
Yes.
There's like 12 of them. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and there it is plugged into an L2. So,
Wow.
and our favorite Bolt was there in a nice blue, as well as its cousin, the Chevy Bolt in blue. Get a load of this concept from Toyota, the iTrail.
Come on, they pull this thing out every year. They've been doing this same shtick for like 7 years now.
I love the purple and yellow interior. Just kidding. I hated it.
It's like, come on, guys. Like, why do you show cars that you're never going to produce? You know.
And they make videos and they have them like all going down the street and the people are going to have, you're never going to make this. Like, yeah.
So
there it is. They made it. Okay.
They made it. They made one.
They're never going to sell it.
Right. And so did Faraday.
And get a load of the electric concept Mini Cooper.
That was at Chicago, or at least there was one at Chicago. It's just a big toy is what it looks like.
It looks awesome. It really does.
And I didn't even mean that in like a really bad way. It looks more like a Hot Wheel than some of the Hot Wheels did.
I don't understand how, when we had a Mini E years ago, that this is the E concept. Like, just make the damn thing.
Get a load of the taillights with the British flag.
Oh yeah,
that's cute.
Oh, I
But it's
saw
pointing
those.
left, so when you signal right, it's on left.
The other side of the British flag is on the other side of the
That's what I was going to say. It looks like arrows pointing the wrong way.
That's beautiful. That is so beautiful.
And a great looking rim.
No door
I
handle.
love the door handle. Look how thick and wide those insert door handles are. Like the Tesla is sleek, and this one's like, it's like you got to use your fist to pop it out. I don't know why they went so thick. And I'm thinking, is this really a concept vehicle? Because they actually put side mirrors on it, and that typically doesn't happen when it's just a concept.
Yeah.
So Mini has indicated that this vehicle will be in production by 2019.
And they had the 3D printer, and they were just looking for something to do, so they molded.
That's what was.
And they had an extra chunk of yellow ink in the printer.
Yeah. Right.
And here's the Mini Countryman plug-in hybrid. And look at this huge piece of bling that they've put around the charge port. I don't know why this big chrome piece of plastic was required, but man, did it ever look weird on it? Like just a big piece of jewelry stuck on the side of the car. And the inside of the Countryman.
That's not too bad.
You can't miss that it's a plug-in because they got the big piece of jewelry. And
now, is that a real car or concept?
This is a real car. Yeah, this is real. And you notice that the trend used to be that they would make the emblem of the company really big. Well, now they're making the whole name of the car really big and sticking it on the car as well. Like, you really can't miss that it's a Countryman, can you? Like, it's bold. It's sitting right in your face. I'm sorry, was there a question?
I got lots of questions. So I'm just wondering, what's you? So you said the Countryman's actually a real model.
It is a real model. Yeah.
And it's a hybrid or it's an EV?
It's a hybrid.
That's
Plug-in hybrid.
weird. A plug-in hybrid.
Yes.
Okay, I'm looking at it now here. So it's 36 grand, or it starts at that. Mini Cooper
what's the
SE
plug-in range?
Countryman, all four.
Again, really small, Paul. You're probably looking at
A twin tower.
40 kilometers, 45 kilometers in metric.
I mean, that's not for a car that's small. That's not bad.
Yeah, well, if that's what they say, if they say 40 kilometers, I mean, that's 25 miles. Toyota says the Prius is 25 miles, and
Up to
I get 35. You know,
on the website, it says EPA estimated up to 12.
12 miles.
12. Oh, wow.
Up to 12. Up to 12. Not
The 40 kilometers is only downhill.
If you're going, yeah,
It's a little asterisk.
right.
Oh, behave.
Exactly. Exactly.
You knew that was
Well,
coming.
the previous plug-in Prius was like 12 miles range.
Yes, it was. And Toyota told us that's all people wanted.
That's right.
Just 12. That's all they want.
Right.
So, well, Toyota, I can tell you I didn't want 12.
Yeah.
And the BMW booth had a couple, had three different plugins. The X5 SUV, as pictured here. Again, a large SUV with a small EV range.
Yeah.
And the new i8 was there. Gets a little bit more EV range than the previous one, but again, not a huge amount. Nothing really to write home about. What's really cool about it, of course, is the way it looks. And the doors.
Right, yeah. And of course, the Chicago Auto Show, the i8 was voted like the best electric vehicle.
Of
In
course.
show, right?
Yes.
Yeah, not the most affordable, the most practical, or the one that makes the most sense.
Right.
And the i3, of course. Again, a slight upgrade, nothing to write home about.
Yeah, that's a shame. They had the opportunity to do some wonderful things with it, and they just like refreshed it.
Yep.
Well, yeah. It's the A3 e-tron.
The A3 e-tron.
Well, it's a great color.
Yeah. Again, not a big EV vehicle. It's a plug-in hybrid that gets an extremely low amount. Not as low as the Countryman, but it does get a low amount. You're under 40 kilometers, something in that range.
I would like to interject here. I did see a Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in hybrid television commercial recently. More than once, like in prime time on like History Channel or Discovery Channel or something.
I did too. Yeah.
So they're actually marketing the car too, not just for sale.
It's shocking.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It is absolutely shocking.
Well, when I went to the Mitsubishi event, the person that was running the event indicated that they are not going to have a problem with volume. They are ready to sell a whole bunch of them. They're not restricted by volume. They claim
they can sell 5 at every Mitsubishi dealer. Because how many Mitsubishi dealers are in Canada?
5.
Gee, counting the one in Toronto, that's like 1.
Yeah.
There's not a lot, that's for sure.
Not a lot here.
But again, like this is their first new car in how long? Like they have not released anything. Like this is a new vehicle that they haven't had one of those in a long time. So I don't know. Is this enough to help push them forward? Is this enough to help them? Obviously, they're
it's got all the tick boxes. I mean, all-wheel drive, can tow, SUV form factor, plug-in.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see if it takes off. But those reports that we saw earlier from Europe about how it was the most, a vehicle that sold the most units, like that could certainly happen here with SUV crazy North America.
Yeah.
That should not be a problem. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, here's a little tidbit. Hopefully soon we'll see some Mitsubishi reviews on what drives us.
Ooh.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yep.
So I'll just tease that. Hopefully soon we'll see some Mitsubishi reviews, maybe even the Outlander PHEV.
Maybe
There you
even.
go.
Maybe.
There you go.
Or the 1988 Mirage.
Right.
I'm actually just going to do donuts in a Lancer for about 2
Right.
and that'll be the review. That is fun.
I'm thinking of borrowing my my coworker's '93 Civic, and I'm just going to review that.
I'm going to throw this out here. Normally I wouldn't do something like this, but I'm going to throw this out here. I wanted to do, a friend of mine has an old Lexus that she loves, and she's put like 1 billion miles on it. And it's like, I don't know, 10 or 15 years old. And I thought to myself, why don't I sit down and talk with her about it? Why wouldn't that be cool? So I'm going to put it to you and our people in the chat room and the audience. Do you have any interest in talking to somebody who's owned a car for a long time and finding out why, what worked for them, what didn't work for them? Because I don't know that anybody does that.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Do you think that would be cool?
Yeah.
I mean, I know this isn't really
And why they have held on to a car for 15 years.
Well, yeah, I mean, everybody does, right, for 10 years these days, but still, it's like, yeah, I don't, Tony,
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
not so much, huh? Okay.
Ah.
Okay. We'll see. No, I get it. Let's move on to a news story, just because I haven't made fun of anyone in like 20 minutes and I need to get this out.
It's eating at him.
Our friend John Volker at Green Car Reports reported this week on news from the Geneva Auto Show. Yay! Or I guess a debut previous to the Geneva Auto Show. I'm not sure why you have to scoop yourself, not John. Volkswagen. Volkswagen put a teaser out for the Volkswagen ID Vizion. And I say Vizion because it's spelled Vizzion. And I have no idea how to say that word. If it's Vision, I'm going to slap someone. Okay? It looks like Vizion. The Vizion will be a dedicated plug-in electric vehicle. And this is, I think, the third or fourth electrified concept that Volkswagen has shown off. None of these have moved past the styrofoam car show stage. I guess I'm not shocked. I guess I'm just sort of like, if your company's involved in a huge global scandal that shakes trust in your company, maybe that's not the time to do a big teaser campaign for something with a stupid name and a pretty ridiculous look. Maybe that's the time to actually make something. Am I being too harsh here?
No.
Russell Hirsch? No.
Oh, okay. I mean, I just, I know I can be a jerk, but it just...
Vizion, don't they make like cheap flat panel TVs?
That's Vizio, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
It's
same
the
thing,
car
right?
department of Vizio.
Right.
I don't, I mean, this is like the microbus. Even if the specs were disappointing in the microbus, if the microbus would actually hit production and people could buy it, wouldn't that be huge?
That'd be cool.
Yes, that would be. Yeah.
I know I'm talking to a pre-favored audience here in Paul, but I mean, it would be cool.
Sure.
But yet they're too busy bullshitting about it.
And drawing pictures of the Vizion.
The Vizion.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh,
Right.
well, let's talk about car companies that are actually doing something. There's this little car company that has actually had a huge hand that we talk about them, but that people in general don't talk about very much. Renault opened its first electric vehicle only showroom in Sweden this month. And
is it called La Electric Car?
Le Electric.
I'm going to share this page because I just want you guys to see the advertisement that wraps around the page. Yeah, how about that one, kids, huh? So not only do we have the Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV, here's a little storefront, and it looks like a little Tesla store. And I'm not accusing them of copying that or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I just, it's a cute little, it's not
Tesla
a standalone dealership.
It's in the mall.
Yeah, it's in the mall. It's where people are shopping and can see it. I think it's brilliant.
Yes. I actually would like to see more manufacturers doing something like this.
Where they could go in and talk to people whose only interest was selling that car that maybe had a hard time being sold at the dealership when competing with gas cars. Maybe.
Right. Educate the public. How, what a radical concept is that?
Yeah. So this is opening up soon it's opening up soon in Stockholm. It is known as the Renault Electric Vehicle Experience Center. And that was not me attempting a French accent because I would not do that.
That was your Swedish accent.
German. Yeah.
You can see the similarities there a little bit with that. And that's one Tesla store. They're not all that quite swelligant, but I think this is a wonderful idea. The car companies spend millions reaching out and advertising and stuff. And this sort of direct exposure where company representatives can talk about a product that otherwise gets overshadowed in a dealership. It's a potential game changer.
Do we have any budget to send me to Stockholm so that I can cover this story?
Budget.
What is this budget you talk about? What does this mean? Budget. Is that like a bunion?
Okay, so do we have any budget that someone could take me up in a box and ship me to Stockholm?
Yes.
That we can do.
That we can do.
I'll
Okay.
FedEx you to Stockholm.
It'll still cost me a couple $100 and you will arrive dead, but you can do that.
Poke some holes in it and fill it with Lara bars. I should be fine.
Yeah, isn't that, don't you you put a little hay and like a piece of lettuce or something in the box?
I think
Isn't
that's what you do.
That's how you ship a Tony.
Yep.
I got nothing else.
Yeah.
I got nothing else. My phone's blowing up during the show.
Right.
So I'm going to do the quick handoff to Tony, who has the next interesting electrified story.
I do. And in fact, I am going to, let's see. Oh, no, it's got this weird, funky, I was going to show the web page, but it's got this weird scrolling thing going. But CNET reported that Toyota is working on lower cost, less resource intensive magnets for EVs. Now, it actually, believe it or not, it took this article to remind me that Toyota is now all in on electric vehicles. And the reason I had to be reminded of this was because after years and years and years of pleading to Toyota to actually get on board with this, now that they finally have, my brain hasn't shifted to the new paradigm yet. So to remind everybody, Toyota has said that they are going to have every vehicle in its lineup with an EV option by 2025. Well, this says an electric
before the
version.
hydrogen or after the hydrogen?
I don't know. It says electric version, and since Toyota considers hydrogen an electric vehicle, so maybe that does include some hydrogen. But what they are working on is a motor that uses less neodymium. Now,
What
is
on
that
earth is that?
Neodymium is
rare
rare
earth.
earth.
neodymium. So I was trying to figure
It's a
out
very sticky magnet.
if there was a Canadian pronunciation to this, whether it's like aluminum and aluminium, but it's
Yeah, it's called
about-
dirt. It's called
oh,
dirt here.
Okay, yeah, so it's got dirt.
I defer to Paul.
Yeah, neodymium, like Paul said, is a very sticky magnet. It's a very, very good magnet material, and it is heat tolerant, which makes it very good for these motors. The problem is Toyota is predicting that, eventually demand is going to outpace supply. And since there's only a limited amount of this stuff, that could pose a big problem. So what they have now announced or said or whatever is they can create these motors with a lot less neodymium, and if that's how it's pronounced. So what they're doing is they're actually using cellium and geez, now I lost it.
Chinesium.
Chinese.
Unobtainium? Cerium. There it is. Cerium. Cerium and lanthanum.
This has been how can Tony mispronounce minerals?
Let's put a string of them together. Yeah.
Lanthanum? I don't know.
I have no idea.
Okay. Look. Okay. Now I have to do this. Now.
They should be called the rare pronunciation elements.
Yeah. Right. That's the difficult to pronounce elements. Okay. So look, this is it, right? You guys, I'm sharing the screen here. Cerium and lanthanum. That's what we got.
Aren't those two new street drugs in New York?
It just might be. So the point here is what they've been able to do is they use them as building blocks and then coat them with the neodymium. And so the neodymium is on the outside. This stuff is on the inside, and it uses a lot less of the more expensive neodymium. And you get these pretty little motors. So that's it. I just love, as you guys know, anytime there's a new technology, a new battery, a new motor, something, I always like pointing that out. It's just some level of progression that hopefully will move us forward.
And that is pretty cool because Toyota does think pretty far ahead. It's interesting that they are realizing that this stuff is going to be scarce if everybody starts buying EVs, and they're coming up with a solution. And I'm sure their patent folks patent the hell out of what they came up with, so they'll be able to make Honda do inferior stuff with however they choose to do it, etc.
Yeah, and we know Toyota was buying up lithium mines. They've probably already cornered the market on these two minerals that I can't pronounce. So they're probably well positioned. They don't mind if their secret gets out because, like you said, they've already patented the hell out of it, and they've already bought up a lot.
They already did the hard work, as they say.
Right.
Well, thank you, Tony, for the update on neodymium and all of that other stuff.
Russell, your microphone got very loud.
It's not really.
Yeah,
really
sounds like shit. Actually,
1, 2, 3. Hey there.
That's bad.
Huh?
There you go.
That's good.
Right there.
Okay, now you can hear me.
Better.
Better.
Yeah.
Oh, I must have a bad mic cable. Oh, damn. Okay. Well, we'll get through this show somehow. The next story comes to us once again from Green Car Reports, and we alluded to it on the Tesla show earlier tonight, and I wasn't aware because I hadn't read through the whole story. I admit it. So apparently Bloomberg has set up a Tesla VIN number tracker, which it makes perfect sense because, I mean, again, Tesla's very opaque about this information. They don't release information. And it's certainly a topic that everybody's very interested in, which is how many Model 3s has Tesla put out. And according to this Bloomberg VIN tracker, Bloomberg claims that they've produced 7,919 cars. And the most recent production is about 1,000 vehicles per week. They don't, as I like to say, show their work. Mm-hmm. But, we're going to assume that Bloomberg isn't probably blatantly lying. I don't know, but it's very interesting to see. Let's put this up on the screen and just so you guys can kind of get an idea of what this looks like. So Yeah, I mean, there it is. The Model 3 tracker, 7,000, 79.19, 1,052 per week. Updated today. Here's their production rate. And, again, we don't, that's how, I guess they're basing that on the VINs that have been reported.
Yeah, people get to report their VINs to
Right.
Bloomberg.
Yeah, but are the VINs aren't sequential, right? Isn't there like a checksum digit? So it's like you're.
The last part of the VIN is sequential.
Oh, it is. Okay.
In this case, not always, but in this case, yeah. In fact, it might be always now that I think about it. Because it works that way for Toyota, doesn't it, Tony?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't, again, this you kind of have to take this with a grain of salt. I mean, I don't know that I can't refute it. But
I mean, there's some pretty charts and graphs in the article.
There's some beautiful charts and graphs, but I guess what would be helpful would be to see an actual sheet of what I'm curious about are if there are gaps. Or are they assuming that because VIN number 7919 has been reported to them, that's how many cars have been made?
Right. That is the frustrating part, that you can submit your Model 3 VIN, but it would be nice if it went into, I don't care, a SQL database, and it said, show all the VINs. And just show me. Just show me a table, when it was submitted, the number, and whatever.
That's it. I don't care. I mean, if you want to put a state in there or something, fine. But that's less important to me. I mean, it's interesting, but it's less important to me than knowing when the VIN was, when the person claims to have bought it and the VIN, because then you can kind of see a timeline. This doesn't. The timeline's not. It's opaque to me.
Yeah. So they do have a Twitter account.
This
is at Model 3 VINs, and they put out a tweet February 3rd that said Tesla registered 26 new Model 3 VINs, 24 are dual model, VINs 11,323 through 11,346. Highest VIN is 11,348. So apparently they do keep track of batch VIN submissions from Tesla.
Well, there you go. Hey, cheers to Tesla for pumping out 1,000 a week. That's fantastic. That is absolutely wonderful. So, and speaking of Tesla, I'm going to bitch about somebody who wanted to smack Tesla around and did it rather flaccidly, if I may say so. Daimler, of course, the parent company of Mercedes-Benz, has a truck division, and the gentleman who runs that truck division is a gentleman named Martin Daum. He was speaking in Stuttgart earlier this year and said the following, quote, "If Tesla really delivers on this promise of their electric semi, we'll obviously buy 2 trucks, one to take apart and one to test, because if that happens, something has passed us by," Daum said. "But for now, the same laws of physics apply in Germany and California." His implication is that Tesla, it is physically impossible for Tesla to make the Tesla Semi as described. And forgive me here, because he may be right, but as someone who's making one of these laws of physics things, he could have at least done us the favor of giving us some crappy written out lipstick on the back of a napkin, basic math that shows us how he proved to himself that that's not true. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, he's basically one of these trolls on Facebook that says, I don't agree with your argument. You need to prove that I'm wrong.
Right.
Exactly.
Hey,
exactly.
I'm not doing your legwork. All right.
Yeah.
Here's a website, google.com. You can find whatever you're looking for.
And that's all. I don't want to go into it. We don't know. Our own Patrick Connor has done some, cheap math, and he claims that the Semi is reasonable. Other people have claimed that it's not. Again, this is a numbers game. It wouldn't be that tough to publish the numbers. I may not follow all the math, but at least I can have people who can look at your math and check it and goes, yeah, you know what? That's not possible. And then we can have a discussion about it. But until then, it's like flax picking at each other. And I hate that shit.
You know what I think? I think Dom is shorting Tesla.
Well, my final story for the night, and there's more to come, kids, so don't get too excited. My final story of the night is a local story. California is testing a new program in San Diego that all of us on this show have been begging for years. And what you're saying, what, Russell, what could it be? Well, as it turns out, one of the things about buying an electric car is that you get an incentive. Usually there's some kind of state and or local and or federal incentive, but the incentives are always, well, not always, but quite often they're trickier. They're not actually a rebate or a cashback. It's like a credit, and it gets weird. California's testing a pre-approved electric car rebate. And what this is you would go to this website, tell them you're going to buy an EV, blah, blah, blah. You fill in the numbers. You get pre-approved for X dollars of rebate. You take that to the car dealership, and when you buy the car, they automatically take that right off the price. And the state of California reimburses the dealership directly.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is really awesome.
Mic drop. Boom, I'm done.
Boom.
No, I mean, this is the kind, like you want to make an incentive so that people are incentivized. Oh,
right. Not fill out the 12 forms and wait 15 months to when you file your taxes to get the rebate.
Exactly. You have to pony up $30,000 to $35,000, and then, like you said, you have to wait 9 to 10 months, maybe 12 months, depending on when you bought it in the tax cycle, and then you'll get $7,500 federal back, and then maybe $2,000, and so then the cost goes down. But you had to pony it up in the first place.
And then if you filled out the form wrong, it kicks it back, and you got to wait another 3 months to get. Yeah.
Right, now, and that's and then what happens is everybody runs to December to buy it because they get the tax credit in the next few months. Yeah. All of this.
Mm-hmm. Now, Paul, I want to say I thought you were saying that Colorado was already moving to something like this.
So Colorado allowed dealers to take it off the sticker, but they made it hard that I think only Nissan is doing it. Like if you buy a Prius Prime in Colorado, Toyota's like, we don't want the hassle dealing with the state. You just pay us and then you deal with the state. So they didn't streamline it enough that the car dealers could play easily. And it sounds like California's got it more together in that department.
Yeah, this is like printing a coupon and going to the dealership.
And it also allows
California just showing the QR code on your phone when you go to the dealer, and they take $5,000 off the price or whatever.
That also allows California to prejudge the people that are getting it, right? So depending on their income, it could be different amounts. Is that what I'm thinking?
Yeah, maybe based on your previous tax return, state return.
I don't know. It doesn't say anything about the variability of the rebate and what the judging process is. The whole point was that apparently only 7 out of 10 electric car buyers in California actually file and get this rebate. And unlike manufacturers that use rebates as a tool to lure you in, California wants you to actually get the money back and wants to make sure that you get the car. So they're trying this. Now, this was rolled out or announced last year. It just launched on January 30th, and it is exclusively right now in San Diego. So if you live outside of San Diego, I'm sorry. And really, that applies to a whole bunch of things. Oh, that was kind of arrogant, wasn't it? I'm sorry. If you're not in San Diego, I'm sorry. But you know what? Cheers to the state of California. Everybody loves to hate on the government and blah, blah, blah. But this is, once again, I think something that we're doing right. And it's worth noting.
I hope the San Diego, the pilot program, if that's what you want to call it, I hope this goes really well and they expand it to the rest of the state next year.
I can't wait to I'm actually want to go and just put it in there and see how much can I get back on a Leaf? You know, I mean, why not? Or a Bolt or whatever. I mean, something in my price range. Well, that's it for me. So the question is, I think Paul.
Yeah, I had a little quickie here. I thought it was kind of fun. Someone post the link, or can someone do video?
I will be happy to. So
let me preface this. This is, so there's, now that there's EVs out there and some crashed EVs. There's some sort of tinkerer, hackers, whatever you want to call them, cutting and pasting. And we talked about the vintage Honda earlier. Well, here's someone who looks like a 1980 Honda Accord, and they put a Tesla powertrain in it with volt batteries. And this is what they came up with. It's pretty neat.
Here we go. Yeah, here it is, kids. There. Okay. Tesla powertrain, non-Tesla chassis, right?
Vintage Honda.
The fuck is that? Rip that thing
It's a
in
little
half.
jerky on Russell's video, but those of you at home can watch the direct video. But it's a hell of a fast 1980 Honda Accord.
Just
Prelude or whatever it is.
The frame is almost sitting on the tires in the back because it's pushed up. It's so funny.
Wow.
That's wonderful.
But there's just like there's people who soup up their old Mustangs, and there's now people doing cool stuff with old electric parts, and we'll see more of that.
And that's totally awesome.
Yeah. The cottage industry and creativity of what
It'd be
people
fun
do.
to drive up to some guy in a Corvette with that car and say, "Hey, buddy, want to race?" blow him away.
You're right.
I mean, yeah, really. Like, I don't hear your motor running. Oh, it's quiet. Not a problem.
Sorry, my engine cut off, but anyway.
Well, let's race anyway. How about for pink slips?
Yeah.
Way back in 2009, I had the good fortune to visit a secret location in Palo Alto where they were experimenting, and this person was putting a EV1 motor in a Ducati frame. Yeah, exactly, Paul. Wow. Now, I never got to ride the finished thing, but just the idea of it. And again, those are the kind of cool things. I mean, like, people are going to be making weird motorcycles and scooters as these parts become more available, as they can get reclaimed parts.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to, because we always have. And the whole idea that only ICE motors are fun to play with, not so much.
You're right.
Not so much. I cheers.
Yeah.
Is that it, Paul? I didn't know if there was any more.
No. Well, there was a link also to a company that sells sort of salvage Tesla motors with their own controllers, so you can actually put them into a project like this. No idea what it costs. I'm sure it's not cheap because the supply of crashed Teslas is not huge.
Right.
But if you have the money and the time and want to tinker and build a fun car, there's stuff out there. You just got to look around.
Just look for hsrmotors.com, hsrmotors.com. And yeah, there's a large Tesla drive unit, small Tesla drive unit. That's amazing, dude. So they actually have Tesla battery modules.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's this is the tip of the iceberg. I mean, there'll be a whole tuner community for stuff like this.
It's wonderful. I mean, I've always wanted to be that kind of tinkerer, hacker, whatever. I'm not, but I love the idea that people are knocking stuff up together at home. That's great.
I could probably give it a try, but I probably wouldn't be doing it for long. Tony would
zap
be
yourself out.
Yeah, Tony would be.
It'd be fun to see people make like total shitty ass cars with Tesla powertrains, like a Gremlin or a Yugo or something.
You do not knock the American Motors Gremlin on this show. Okay? Ever.
Okay, the Pacer.
You're not going to talk about the show.
The world's fastest AMC Gremlin.
The Gremlin X, baby, V8, a 400 cubic inch V8.
Wow.
I have a deep connection to American Motors, which you're going to hear about very soon, Guzik. I think for our final story this evening, we're going back to Mr. Mark Coughlin.
I just got a couple of photos that I was able to drum up here from the auto show. Once again, just a couple.
Oh.
There is that Firebird 3 with the back fins. There's the lights I was talking about, built right into the fins themselves. Very cool. Just completely not practical. There's the air import area.
Imagine seeing that in the 60s. I mean, that would blow your mind.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the Jaguar I-Pace was at the show,
Wow.
and this car is about to be released. A complete full EV, gets about 390 kilometers of range, about 400 kilometers of range, which works out to be what, 238 or so miles?
Sure, let's go with that.
Okay. And again, it's about to be released because you can tell it has side mirrors. So very cool looking vehicle, SUV style. It's going to be up there in price, definitely. It's it's going to be Tesla priced, no question.
That is a sharp looking car. Do you have a picture of the doors and the handles? Do the handles recess like Tesla's?
They do.
I wonder where they got that idea.
Yeah, I wonder. There they are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
Nice. Well, let's do some shout outs and go home, gentlemen. Mr. Guzik.
As usual, I'm going to plug my business, Boulder Hybrids, our website, boulderhc.com. Anybody in the Mountain States region needs their hybrid or EV fixed and or their Tesla powertrain put into a 1980 Honda Accord, give us a call. That's all I got.
Nice. Mr. Schaefer.
Well, I want to, of course, as usual, give a shout out to everyone in the chat. And, I honestly would read names, but you'd have to scroll through and find everybody. But you all know who you are. Thanks
Eric,
for joining us.
David, JT, David. Thanks very much.
Eric. Yeah. And I want to end the way I started and give another shout out to Off Colored Brewing for not putting a mouse in my
Did not find the mouse.
That is a happy ending right there. Yeah.
Maybe that's the title. No mouse in the bottle. No mouse in the bottle. Okay. Let's see. And Mr. Coughlin, I don't want to skip you. That's not fair.
And one more name I skipped, Zachary, in the chat room.
Oh,
if you happen to be in the KW region for Tuesday, the 27th of February, we're having an electric vehicle meetup in downtown Kitchener. Please feel free to reach out and RSVP if you would like to join into the fun.
Sweet.
Yep.
Oh, I do want to shout out, I still like Russell's new lighting situation. He looks very dignified there.
Wow.
Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. Thank you. It's certainly highlighting the horrible texture of my 56-year-old face, but I love the look of it too. So
Hey, don't worry about it. The crappy download speed of U.S. internet, no one can
true. Yeah, just like two eyes and a moving mouth, like Clutch Cargo or something.
Right.
Anybody but me remember Clutch Cargo?
I do.
Do you really?
Yes, of course I do.
Is he related to Max Headroom?
No. Well,
Even
maybe,
worse.
sort of. Yeah, actually,
Yeah,
sort of a
yeah.
prehistoric way. As always, I want to thank Michael Manring for our theme music. Visit him at manthing.com. Do not buy anything from CD Baby. Buy it from iTunes or somewhere else. Thanks to everybody in the chat room. Once again, cheers. Love you, all of you, for being in there. Visit us on Twitter at What Drives Us, Facebook.com/What Drives Us. And the big important one, please, please, please go to YouTube at What Drives Us, youtube.com/What Drives Us. Click on the subscribe button. Encourage your friends, your family, your pets to subscribe there too. We need subscribers. So please do that for us.
Open multiple accounts.
Open multiple accounts. Do whatever you want. I don't care.
Have your
No,
Russian
seriously.
friends open multiple.
Have your Russian friends open them. They're bot farms, they're troll farms, or whatever they are, troll factories. I forget.
So
You
at
know.
this point, people are wondering why we're begging for subscriptions and likes and things. So one of the cool things is that particularly car manufacturers take notice when you reach a certain threshold. And one of those thresholds is 500 regular subscribers on a YouTube podcast, which is what we have. And we're at 413 right now. So the cool thing is we would have more options to do more cool stuff if we can reach that threshold. So that's why we're like begging for likes.
Like fly Tony to Stockholm to look at the.
Yeah, that's right. In the box. In the box for 500.
Right.
Yeah.
But at least with like
Not gonna happen, even with 1,000. But yeah,
So yeah, I mean, we might get cool cars, or we might get invited to car shows on a manufacturer's dime, which would give us more opportunity to provide more content and have cooler shows and stuff. And so we just want to grow the show, and this is one of the benchmarks.
And we need your help,
yeah.
please.
So,
thanks to Tony, Paul, Mark. I know, like those dudes that I do the show with. Thank you guys very much. And of course, thanks to all of you for tuning in. You're the reason we do this show every week. Tune in next week and find out what drives us. See you. Bye-bye.